scenario that we played out and called 2 days ago with that spinning top, which showed a bearish rejection on that push up. And I told the audience, sell out your profits and go back liquid. Now XRP's down about 10 cents from there, almost 10%. We've got Bitcoin, we talked about yesterday, to be around that 69K level, and here we are. We talked about it 2 days ago. That was my expectation. And whether or not it holds, you always sell if you're swing trading a bear market, because the expectation is that it's going to continue lower than it started. You're in a bearish downtrend. Just because we get a movement up, you take advantage of it when it shows that opportunity of displacement. But once it finishes that point, if it doesn't push past the resistance, you have no reason to hold. Zero, there's no excuses. That's why I have to do this universally, otherwise we're going to get wrecked. And I take a lot of criticism in the comments, which is quite ironic, because I would imagine I'm the only person in the space that gives you it in real time on the fly before it happens and tells you to sell out before the drop happens. Like, I've even given you the levels. I took so much criticism in the comments yesterday saying, don't listen to this piece of shit and things like that, that it was incredible. So, I see it every single day. I'm appreciated by some, but hated by so many for some reason. Why would you hate me? Like, that's the honest question. Like, why do people have such a grudge with what I do? Is it because I tell the difference between all the other douchebags on YouTube and social media? I don't want to get down that line, but it's always incredible when I have to go through the comments and see 5 out of 10 comments are hating on me. I told the breakout before it happened, showed the area where it could go to least possible resistance. And if we got rejected, I built a liquidity zone. When we got up to those levels, I said, sell it. I didn't hold it. I said, sell it. I said, I took my profit. I'm liquid. And I'm going to wait to see if we can back test this area and hold around the breakout point, because we did not get past the liquidity zone. And I even put it out here plain as day. I called it. I said the exact numbers I expected. I told you guys to go liquid after that profit. So is it people just hating because they're mad that they didn't listen? Are they just upset because I go against the grain? Are they disappointed because they think I'm a wizard and I control the markets? I've even showed the head and shoulders here. I showed the liquidity box. Like, I'm not exactly what else I can do for free to appease everybody. Now, if you want to learn deeper, join the classes. If you want to learn deeper, join the classes. I was very nice letting people into the Telegram, but see what happened? Scammers came in. And then people expect more than they deserve. So that's not going to happen for a little bit of time. I'm not going to open up unless I get some significant support on days, then I'll open it up. But just to open it up, I'm not doing it no more. I did it for a few days and I feel like I got burned a little bit. So, that's neither here nor there. Somebody got scammed, and let me just show you why it's so disappointing. Why it's so disappointing. So you see all these people that represent me and act like me. And you can very clearly see it's not me. These are the kind of people are getting scammed from. Hey, send me your XRP and I will send you a bunch of shit. Like, this is what people are getting scammed by. People that are acting like they're me. You can very clearly see it's not me. Somebody's imitating me. But when have I ever said that you send me XRP, send me 1,000, I'll give you 2. Like, if you're being scammed by this kind of stuff, look at all the people that are imitating me. They have 50 subscribers, 1 subscriber, 3 subscribers. And in my community, I have 523 members. Like, there's no reason to be getting scammed by this. If you come in here, you have to read the prompt. It's on the very first thing you have to agree to. I'll never message you. I'll never ask you to send me anything. You're not going to get something for nothing. So, like, it gets a bit frustrating, and then I take the beating. People act like it's me personally doing it, and it's like, I give you guys so much of my freaking time. I've been doing this for 5 years, and I've never missed a day. I've been spot on. Like, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but look at the history. I don't even have to spout it anymore. Everybody in here knows what we're capable of. So, please, take control of your own finances and stop trying to get something for nothing. If I said, give me $1,000 and I'll give you 10, I mean, come on. Where's that money coming from? My ass? That's what I'm saying, man. So I have to be honest here when I start. The no FUD approach, sometimes I have to come in like this because it gets annoying. And most of the people have never sent me a donation. If you want to send a scammer your donation, pay it forward for the stuff I do for all of you. How about that? If you want to give your money away for free, give it to me. It'll go to a good cause, my son. So, anyhow, good morning. 9:50 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Friday, March 6th, 2026. I'm XRP Future Millionaire with a stick up his ass this morning, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. I got rid of 7 people yesterday for many reasons. And I'm not talking about in the Telegram. I'm talking about in this very YouTube channel. So I'm not putting up with it no more. I want to have a certain defined narrative. I want to have a positive mindset. But if I'm getting beaten down through the rails, if you want to beat me up for reality. If I do something wrong, if I misrepresent what's going on, then go for it. Constructive criticism is great, but don't gaslight my stuff. Do you know how bad that hurts my reputation when people gaslight me when I'm actually accurate? It's a very disheartening thing to see because I give you my time. I give you a lot of my time. So, oh no, I got out on the right side of bed, Bazaar. This is called the truth. This is called the truth. I got out on the right side of bed today. I mean, that's a good question, Elmer Fudd. That's how you know. Nobody can represent my guns or my hair or the length. You know, that's a good question, though. I love it. But anyhow, I needed to get that out because I just, you know, when you get beaten over the barrel, sometimes you got to beat back. So anyhow, Dan Marginal, welcome in. Mrs. Stott, Mr. Stott, William. Dan Marginal, William Hayes. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XRP Predictor. The Cannabis Podcast, Mark Caston. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So Bad. 1970 Legend. Thank you for being a very trust-minded in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So Bad, along with Crazy Pull. Also, Crypto Cooter in 1 year plus and a very trusted mod. Elmer J. Fudd, thanks for the comic relief. I appreciate it. And being a mod in here is well trusted. Let's see. Mark Smith, Jason Blackburn, Bold FC, thanks for being in Tom's Army for 3+ months with the XP Meteor, along with Totally Awesome. I greatly appreciate that. XRP John Hall, good morning. We continue to pray for our soldiers across the globe, because a soldier is fighting for what he believes is right in his own native country. So we just pray for the safe return of your child. We understand he's been deployed, and we pray to Yahweh and Yeshua for his continued safety. And that goes for everybody in the military across the globe. Even though we're fighting each other, we've got a lot of people in this audience from many different countries. So we also continue to pray for Bearded Viking as he continues to fight the good fight with his son. His son, Mighty Marcus, is actually the one fighting the good fight, but obviously mom and dad are part of it. So we ask for guidance there. So I appreciate that. Yes, please restart, Jeffrey, even though you can't hear me if you can't hear. Thanks for the 2nd month with the Dust House Crypto News, Jeffrey. I appreciate that. Josh, welcome in. Lord of Drink. SBK Stoner, welcome in. Jerry Clark, thanks for being in Tom's Army 3+ years with the XRP Diamond Hands badge. Juan, good morning, and says, morning, Tom. This market is too unpredictable short term. That's my view. Continue to buy spot when the time is right. I don't think it's unpredictable at all. If it was unpredictable, I couldn't do what I'm doing. I think it's very much predictable, and it's following a trading algorithm. I think it's unpredictable for ones who can't properly analyze a chart or understand market anatomy, which is no fault of some of yours because you just don't have the education. That's why you come in here for the knowledge. But I don't think it's unpredictable. I think it's very much predictable. Very much predictable. It's showing us everything we need to see. You just have to be aligned with it. That's all. David Witten, welcoming the Guns Pal. Woo, I appreciate that. I just got done with my workout this morning. It's a good thing. I wonder how hostile I would have come in if I didn't do my workout. Eric Macklin, welcome in. Israel, good morning. People are all mad because they got scammed on Kalshi Fed. That's true. That could be something. The trolls are under the bridge. They sure are. Now they are. CFD Adam, welcome in, and thanks for being in town on your 2nd month of Dust House Crypto News. D Billy, welcome in. Israel. Maybe we will do sunny days as the show goes on today. Carl, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So Bad. I love it. Thank you so much for the continued support to the members of Tom's Army. I appreciate that. And everybody else in here, you are welcome. XRP John Hall. Juan, welcome back into Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XRP 589 Moon Badge. I greatly appreciate that continued support. Dan Hedger, thanks for your second month with the Dust Hours Crypto News. In the words of Cruz, you can't handle the truth. To all those that get upset with you, Tom. True, and you know what? That's why I started off for a minute and I just said my piece, but now I move on. So we can't judge too harshly on those that don't know. But, you know, sometimes we shouldn't speak on what we don't know and we should try to learn. You know, because you know, somebody's going to come in here who's never seen my content and be like, oh, look at this negative review, I'm out of here. And they're going to miss out on something very important. Like, we've been ahead of this every single day. I've drawn it out to the best of my ability to show everybody what needs to happen. This is too high up, actually. Not sure what happened there. Okay. And we try to keep it properly with the expectations. We try to take advantage of those moments where we think we can have a push up, which we were fortunate enough to do prior to that rally. But at the same time, the number one thing you need to do in a bear market is protect your capital. You don't want to lose what you gain because then it goes back into the pockets of the market makers, and that's no good for us. It is Friday, which is going to be extremely volatile. This has already been a brutal start. We could tell we had a spinning top on the 4 hourly. After we made that top, the daily time frame didn't do anything to save us. As of right now, unless this is a big pull down, this is going to get brutal. Daily time frame still overbought. We're going to look to see the support structure as we talked about yesterday and the day before at that $1.32.5, $1.33, and that's going to be the decision point. That would be our decision point if we can even come up to a wavy. Otherwise, this is just a continuation, and then we end up falling off the map. So it's gonna be it'll be an interesting day. Tim Rain, good morning, and thanks for being in Time Zone for the first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. Oh, Juan, you said I meant between long term and short term. We've been for many days that it could go either way. Well, it can go either way, but the trend is down. The only reason it could go any way is because we had that volatility gap that we had to hit. So yes, I agree with you, but it's a tricky thing to explain. But I actually agree with you overall, Juan. I digress. I actually agree with that statement. And thank you for elaborating on it for me. I really appreciate that. Dana, welcome in. Glad to see you back in here. Dan Hedger's second month. I appreciate that. Smackamation, good morning, says, hey, all, have a blessed day. Time with man. Enjoy the fish fry today. Yes, sir. As we're continuing Lent. So, no meat today except for fish. Absolutely correct. I'm glad to see some others who believe in the same thing. Elmer J. Fudd. Don't even want to go there this morning. We don't want to break into the political realm. I may lose the entire audience. Mrs. Stott says 37 likes and 79 people. Well, it gets a little worse, Mrs. Stott. Now we have 41 likes and 88 people. Less than, what, 45%? Just like how y'all doing. Doing pretty good, Smack. I know a lot of people think I came in hot and heavy, but, you know, sometimes you got to speak your piece because then it allows you to move on. So XRP, as we predicted, expected that it would come down to these levels. We were hopeful that $1.38 would show us relief, not expecting it because that descending wedge or what it looks like the breakout needed to come back down to that $1.32.5, $1.33. We completely expected Bitcoin to do a make it or break it tap at 69K, and it fell right through it. So Bitcoin, and it hasn't technically come all the way back down to this descending wedge breakout. So it tested it here in a small term. But if it's going to hold, I mean, it could come all the way to 64K. But I don't have a lot of faith until we can break out of this bearish market. Right now, the trend is down. And there's going to be moments of opportunity where you have imbalances and things like that. And fortunately, we were able to take advantage of it on Monday. But as you guys know, by Wednesday, we needed to sell. And that's not our fault. We just topped out on Wednesday. And we needed to sell it. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I've said many times, I'm doing the swing trading. And that's why I've been so proactive in the bear market. When it's in a bear market, I swing trade. And I don't have to tell everybody what I do, but I do. So either you can follow along with it or you're going to get left behind, but don't misrepresent what I'm doing. You know, that's all. Joseph Euler, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year at the I Told You So badge and gifting a sub. And it goes to Eric Mack. And oh, what a perfect person to go to. Eric, welcome in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. That is my face superimposed on that emoji badge. And Eric's in here this morning. I've seen him in here many, many days now. So I think that's pretty cool that Eric got that gifted sub. You all right, Julie? What's wrong? Love you. Bearded Viking, welcome in. I appreciate you being in Tom's Army for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. We pray that Mighty Marcus is having a good day today along with you and your wife. And XRP John Hall, welcome back into Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor. Hood Class, welcome. And yes, you're welcome, Eric Mack. And that was from Joseph Euler. Mr. Euler gifted that stuff, and I'm very happy it went to you. You've been in here for a lot of time now. Makes me happy. Hood Class, welcome in. Bazaar says, do you ever see yourself getting fed up with XRP? Personally, I sometimes think that I'm wasting my time. Absolutely not. I get fed up with the XRP community, but not XRP as a whole. Because I know what I'm doing with XRP. I'm not getting caught up in the up and downs. See, there's a lot of money and a lot of currency to be made with XRP, but you can't act like it owes you something, and you've got to understand cycles. If you understand the cycle, there's going to be a 9 to 15 day period where you'll 4 to 6x every about 1.5 to 3 years. And a lot of people don't think that that's good enough. I do. I think it's great. So, no, I'll never get sick of it. I'll get sick of the people before I get sick of XRP, the community, which it's wearing thin on me. Not my own community, but the latter part of the community, because they're so unrealistic. And most of the XRP community in 2026 is a bunch of schlubs and losers that misrepresent what's going on with XRP's ecosystem, and they finesse retail who knows no better. And that pisses me off, if you want me to be honest. It pisses me off that influencers take advantage of the ones who know not what is true, but take advantage of their lack of knowledge. See, that's a sin. You're not supposed to take advantage of the unwitting or the unknowing. In fact, you're supposed to give yourself to them, the knowledge you have, and be truthful, and you're not supposed to make money off of the people who have no knowledge of what they're doing. So that I can tell you is what I get sick of, not XRP as a whole, if you want me to be honest. So that's why every single day I come in and say, if you're watching somebody who's misrepresenting what's happening, if they're calling us in a bull market still, if they're saying we're just entering a bear market, if they're saying all this other apples and oranges bullshit, you can't follow them anymore. We've been in a bear market since January of 25, and it was confirmed in July. As simple as I can put it. Which means this bear market and a lot of things have already been going on for almost 15 months. For XRP, it's been going on for over 9 months. But some people are saying we just entered a bear market. So that is my goal in this community, is to make sure we're all aligned and not be finessed. I hate when people take advantage of the unknowing. That's my number one pet peeve. It used to be when I was in high school. I used to get mad when people would take advantage of the weak. And since I was a big fatso at 265 pounds, I wouldn't put up for it. And obviously when you're that big, and I'm not talking muscular, I'm talking about just fat, but I could fight, people were afraid of me. I created a demeanor for that reason. So, because I don't like to be messed with on the street, so I walk around, and when you look at me, you're like, I'm probably not going to mess with that guy, even though I'm a very kind-hearted and wouldn't hurt anybody. I just put a demeanor out there so people don't fuck with me or anybody else around me. So that's how I expect my community to be. We don't get fucked with. Oh, I'm sorry, we're a family. We don't get messed with. We're not going to get burned. You don't have to worry about me finessing you to make a little bit of dollars. I don't even turn on advertising or do any paid sponsorships, because I want everybody here to not have to sit through 75 minutes of nonsense to get 1 minute of fact. I'm never going to give you a false headline. I'm not going to give you a false chart. I'm going to tell you what you don't want to hear, because what you don't want to hear is what you want, what you need to hear. And what they're going to tell you, what you don't need to hear, is what they're going to tell you, because it's the easiest route. So see, most people who do as an influencer, they take the path of least resistance. So they lie to you, because the path of least resistance with the most expectation will get you paid the most. It'll get you more sponsorships, because if you follow that alignment, you'll get paid. I've been offered it by different companies, different wallets, and different places, different ecosystems. It's such a lucrative offer that most people just don't have the testicular fortitude. They don't have the confidence. They don't have the integrity that we deal with in here to turn it down. I'll turn it down 10 times out of 10. I don't care. I've been offered so many times $5,000 a week, $5,000 a month to put out some bullshit. But you know what it would cost you? Your portfolio. And it would cost me my integrity. No amount of money is worth your integrity. Period. So that's my promise. And I'll continue to make that promise. Unless somebody gives me an offer that wants to sponsor the station for real. Not because, you know, I'm forcing my audience to sign up for some affiliate nonsense or join some crap that's going to cost them, join some trash token. If somebody really wants to sponsor this community in a very real way, I'm open to it. But it's got to be the right way. If somebody's like, we want to be a part of this by you implementing us into it, maybe talking about us for 10 seconds and things like that, and it's an appropriate integration that my audience doesn't need to pay for something for my channel to be sponsored and for them to help support it, that's what I want. But a sponsorship to me doesn't mean, oh, advertise, you know, to keep your balls fresh, or to advertise some fake Tangent wallet, or to advertise some nonsense that's going to wreck somebody. No, a real sponsorship is just that. You believe in what I do, and that's the members of Tom's Army, and that's the only sponsor I have at this point. I'm proud of it. You know, so that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for somebody to step in and say, here's $1,000 a month to support the channel so you can evolve it. Or here's this and that to help you promote it and things like that. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking to promote some cheap VPN nonsense and then I get paid a certain amount, maybe a couple $100 for the integration, but majority comes from, oh, what I can sell or what my audience gets taken for. You know, that's where I misalign with the rest of the communities. There's not a single person I watch. Well, I don't watch any of them anymore. But there's not a single person I haven't seen in the XRP community, whether their channel's 1,000 or 100,000 or 1,000,000, that doesn't take that cheap integration. And all you need to do is look at every 2 weeks to your favorite channel. And I'm telling you right now, and you can lie to me if you want, I don't even need to say the name. Insert the channel you watch besides mine here. Every couple weeks they talk about the next 100x token, right? Getting paid. Same token gets rug pulled after a few months, right? Got paid with free tokens and they can sell at a defined level. That's what they all do. That's what they all do. So you can love me or hate me, but I'm going to tell you the truth and I'm not going to sway from what I believe. And if I have to, I'll come in strong and tell you to go F yourself. You know, and that's what I did this morning. I didn't say it in that direct way, but it's just the way it is. There's so much darkness in today's world that you need the light. There's so many people who believe in Satan that you need a God-fearing man. And I fear our Lord and Savior. Not for what he'll do to me, but what will happen if I don't follow the lead. So I've been given guidance, and I'm going to try to give everybody else guidance. Can I get an amen? I guess an amen or go fuck yourself, right? But I prefer an amen. But yeah, that's just who I am, for anybody who's new. I've been doing this since March 24th of 2021, and honestly, I've never missed a day. I started teaching classes 5 weeks ago, and I put in even more work than I was before I even started the classes. And I'm not talking about the classes in themselves. I'm talking about outside the classes. Oh, I love all the amens. Good morning, Sola Jeffy. Amen. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So Bad. JG over 3 months. Appreciate that. But does that make sense? Why sometimes I come in hot-headed? Because I've seen a lot of scammers this morning in the YouTube community. I've seen a lot of people misrepresenting, telling everybody we just broke into a bull market. Like, how do people live with that? Do they honestly believe that? Is that in their conscience? Or do they just like, oh, this is great, I'm making so much money because I'm getting so many views? Oh, yeah, they're making lots of money on just views because they're getting 100 and 150,000 views. You start talking about that level, they're eating off of you with what you don't know. It's a shame. But anyhow, I digress. JUK, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. So what we're going to look at here for XRP, now that we broke that $1.38 cleanly, it's going to come right down here. Now, our best opportunity to get a bounce here to still get into a wavy expansion is if we can hold this $1.32.8, $1.33 level, and then we can come into a very defined area. But again, we broke down as of right now. And in fact, this could, in theory, come down if we break. Well, actually, they're both right around that $1.32.8. I kind of like that setup, to be honest, where it's at, just as a telltale sign. Do I like that it's Friday? Not necessarily. Could this be a weekend where we could have a move? Probably not. The jobs report came out, and as I said a couple weeks ago, that it was all nonsense and it was going to be revised, and that the next one you've seen was going to be horrible. It was horrible. Stocks sink as weak jobs and inflation jitters. I think there was 91,000 less jobs than expected, as we predicted. Rand Dad, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 4 years with the XRP Phoenix badge. Says, good morning, Tom. They're upset because they missed out and they don't listen to you consistently. If they listened to consistently all the time, they would know the times to go in and the times to get out. Exactly. Heck, I even put my hat on for that, 8-hour period. And then when I came back on at night, I took it off and everybody's like, I'm like, please don't read into this. I'm not a wizard, and it's becoming harder for me to convince everybody because I put the hat on and we jumped 7 to 9% across the board. And then I took it off and it was funny. Everybody's like, oh, we're cooked. It's over. I took it off when it came up here. Remember, into this box, and I'm like, I'm not taking it off because it's cooked, and I didn't sell because I think it's over completely. But we got rejected, and to me, it may or may not be a spinning top, but this looked like a spinning top, which means the next 3 candles define it. And we had 1, 2, 3 back up, fake out, back down, couldn't break out, and then we came down just like we should have. So I love it. And sometimes me coming in with passion like this, see how easily I got off of being angry? It only took a minute for me to get out what I needed, but now I can go in with the fire I need, and it's more of a passionate approach. It's more of a not in your face, but in your space kind of thing. We're being progressive, not aggressive. See, I started off aggressive, not progressive in the beginning, but it needed to be that way because then it got everybody focused like, holy crap, did he wake up on the wrong side of the bed, or there's something going on here? So, but like I said, I respect this audience too much to lie to you. I really do. I appreciate what we've built. For every rude comment, there's a comment in support. And there's been phenomenal comments the last couple days as well, so don't think it's all bad. I can take it. The cool comments have been people thanking us for the community we built, and I say us, even though they're directing it at me, because it's all of us. I can't build a community without all of you. Doesn't go very far if I'm just speaking into a mic. Well, I don't even have a microphone. If I'm speaking, if you want to be honest, I'm probably the least resourceful person when it comes to having like mics and any kind of help, or when it comes to editing, because I don't edit. I don't practice. I don't rehearse. I don't have any kind of script. Out of anybody who's probably an influencer, they all have scripts. They all have it written out. They all have fake stuff. They all have all these boom stands and things that make it sound good. I don't get frisky at all. You either like it or you don't. What makes my content good is my content. The information, the charts. And I'm not trying to be, I'm big-headed. There is nobody who has more experience than me with XRP, period, in the world. Nobody. When it comes to charting and news and things like that, they can pretend. They all take days off. I haven't taken a day off in 5 years, so if you don't think I understand the rotation, you're sorely mistaken. So it takes a lot of dedication to get to where I'm at. I didn't take the easy way out, okay? So that means I have to work harder than the ones who did take the easy way out. And that's just the truth. And I'm okay. I'm not opposed to work. I come in here every single day after I've already worked out. So, I've already put in a lot of work today. I did a short this morning. I've done a little bit on Facebook. But I study, man. I study this every single day. I study it so you don't have to, but you can if you want. I do this so that you can come in and be like, I'm not being screwed over. I actually know what's going on. I want you to feel empowered. I don't want you to feel like you're not empowered. I want you to feel like you can grab the ball or grab the day by the, grab the day. I don't want to necessarily say by the balls. I don't disagree with that, Almer, but at the same time, it takes value away. It's my own opinion. I know when I'm watching something, I know if I'm watching something, especially how much time I put into this, if you're watching this for an hour or up to 2 hours in these lives, I know a couple days ago it was 2.5 hours, and that's every 5 to 7 minutes YouTube puts a commercial. And you think you can skip it, but you can't. They're not skippable, most of them. Yeah, some of the pre-rolls they'll put in, you can skip after 5 seconds. But some of them, they make you watch for a full 3 minutes now before you can skip it. So I don't want that. I would rather you guys be able to just... I just want you guys to be able to... I want you guys to be able to watch this for real. I wouldn't watch it if there was a commercial every 5 minutes. You know how turned off I get with Peter Schiff and all these other people who make millions and who have enough views to where they don't need to put commercials on, but they not only, at least he doesn't turn advertising on his channel, but he advertises every like 12 minutes or so. Takes away from the show. So yeah, that's why I do what I do. Hood Class says, Hood Class says, I always watch and listen, Tom. You're the one YouTube channel with complete honesty and accuracy. We're all thankful for you, bro. I appreciate that. And Randad, you do need loyal people, and I know I've got those loyal people. That's the truth. I've got so many loyal people. That's why we can get over 100 people routinely, even when the market's bearish. And then, you know, we get the Johnny-come-latelys that all we try to do is add one person a day into the main group. And that doesn't mean a paid subscriber. That just means somebody who becomes a loyal member, who tries to inform others, who pushes positivity instead of negativity, and who really tries to help. So here we go. What do we need to do now today with this drop? Well, we've had a pretty significant drop, but the 4-hourly still got room. The only way to avoid a further drop here is for this to end up as let's call it a hammer candle. If this 4-hourly closes in the next 43 minutes, over $1.38, $1.39, maybe it could turn into something like that, but I don't expect it. Yeah, I have YouTube Premium as well. And I started YouTube Premium so that you guys wouldn't have to watch commercials when we watch somebody else. You know, when we watch like the live Fed meetings and things like that, because it was getting annoying. Remember all those commercials that would pop up? That's what you'd see on my channel if I had commercials. Yeah, I've been considering the merch store, believe me. I have a couple different ideas. You know, I have a couple different ideas. We could have the Sunny Day shirt, the Confidence. We could have... there's just a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff I could technically do. Yeah, Mark, and I do the same thing, my friend. 1970 Legend, thanks for being a very trusted mod in here, and also for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Elmer, if you want Tom to make more money, buy a membership. I approve that message. Only if it's within your own standard, folks. I don't want you to go broke trying to support me. Capiche? That's not how it is. Now, if you want to, if you make profit and stuff and you want to join the cause in Tom's Army, that would be extremely helpful. So expect a little bit of an upturn here. Maybe back to $1.38. If this plays out properly, let's take a look here. As we got a little overextended in the smaller time frames. We've got a death cross here, which would make sense to retest around that $1.38, $1.39 possibly this morning. But we'll know. We've created what I would consider a gap. And you know, it's not a traditional gap, but it's Tom's gap. Call it Tom's gap. The TG. Tom's gap. Which to me, if I'm talking about a little gap for Tom's gap, I would say probably this area to fill out. Just try to see if we fill Tom's gap. And I know it doesn't make a lot of sense for somebody who's new. It shouldn't make a lot of sense, yeah, but that's a little displacement there that I like. Actually, it goes up a little bit higher, if I'm being honest, right about there. Because you have these wicks drop, never retested the wicks in a formidable way. So now the death cross coming through in the 45 already is a good area of content. The hourly is trying to do it. The 2 hourly's pushed bearish. It broke back. The golden cross is invalidated as of right now. So I think that's a nice liquidity box that we could drive through. And unless it breaks back to the top sign, it's a bearish retest. So rebounding, I'm long. I buy blood. Ooh, I like that. Carl says classes not only support Tom, but invest in yourself. Absolutely. And phase 3 starts on Monday. We've gone through already 5 weeks. Wait a minute. Well, how many classes have we? Yeah, 5 weeks now. We've done 10 classes. You don't have to watch it in real time. In real time. So you don't have to watch it at live if you don't want. It's from 12 to 1, even though it's over an hour every single one. Monday and Wednesday, but now there's 10 classes for you to go back and digest. We started out with the DNA of money and the great transitioning from eras and what we used to do for bartering and things like that, past, present, and where we're going future and digital. Yeah, let's be adults here. Remember how I started, positivity over negativity. We lead by example, and if the mods can't do it right, who really can? Show some respect for what I'm building here, for fuck's sake. I know we're just joking around, but I'm just, maybe not fuck's sake, for the sake of Tom's mind, let's do this properly. How about that? And then we went into the, let's see, wealth preservation versus generation. And phase 3 is going to be my funnest. That's when we get into central banks, institutions, and all the great buyers of our great, great things. But that's the liquidity box right now. If we can't push past this, it's a bearish retest once again, in my opinion. And again, it's my opinion. See, that's the beauty of it. My opinion. Nobody else's. It's what I believe is going on. This is the little bit of a, call it, displacement to the downside, call it a gap area and things like that. Yeah, Tom's gap. There you go. I love that. Tom's gap. And as of right now, Tom's gap in the 45 tried to come up, but it hasn't been able to pull through. If this gets rejected, the next area down is going to be around that $1.32.5, $1.33. It could come all the way back up to $1.39 and some change to retest this gap area. And don't be surprised. You know, this is the moment in time where we should get a little bit of pullback back to the top side. Amazing. 25% of the audience left as I'm describing this. They know not what they don't know. They only know they don't like me. And that's okay. See, our positivity is not in the proper form. Not just for me, but there's too much nonsense in the comments as well. You know, and that's just, that's a little annoying. So, why would anybody respect what I do if my own audience isn't at times? You know, that's the bottom line. Look at that. We're dropping like flies in here, down to 84 people. Interesting. Went from 116 to 84. That's craziness. Hashtag love over hate, positivity over negativity, be better, do better. I love that. Hashtag be better, do better. I should probably bring that back. I used to love saying hashtag be better, do better. That was my little saying. Wow, 74 people now. I'm actually quite shocked that so many people are leaving. Am I that ugly? You don't like the way I look? Is that what's going on? Man, oh man. That's something right there. That'll tell you something in the morning that this has not been a good live apparently. No retention. That kind of sucks, actually. But anyway, I'm gonna turn off this for a minute so I don't have to see comments or how many people are watching. I'm gonna shut off my ability to read everything right now. So Bitcoin, 68,928. We know we had a support structure around 69K. We have a little bit of an expansionary area that has been built out. So we've got a little bit of an area of a gap that you can say is formed basically within this area to see if we can get back over the top. I like to identify it like this now for the audience so you don't have to guess. So we need to get not only back into this box, but back over to avoid a bigger drop. It looks like a head and shoulders topping reversal pattern. A double top was formed. And if this is the case, we would have to drive back down to a pattern reset, which could bring us down to 65,665, could come down lower. We'll have to see if we can continue to hold these areas. If we can come back up through the displacement that we created with a little bit of a gap. And these are just things you look for when you have drops. So that gives you your tell sign here. If we can get back over the top, maybe we can make another expansionary run up. We want to make sure that we pay attention to the other markets. We've got the Dow down another 589 points now, down better than 3,000 in the last several days. S&P's down 78 or better than 1.15%. NASDAQ's down another 216 or almost 1%. So we've got a lot of that going on. We've got platinum up 1%, gold up 76 bucks or 1.5%, silver up 2.9%, up to over 84.60. Oil's up another 12%. And it's kind of running exactly like it should. It broke out of the descending wedge. And it has a technical target right now of about 101 out of that wedge. Volume's picked up extremely high. Gas prices are going up. They're up about 5% in the last couple of days. Expect this summer $5 to $6 gas if this continues at minimum across the country. I know California's up over 750 right now. So do we expect a back test at 70? Well, without war, you would usually expect it, but this could just be on an unabated run. We don't know. We're going to find out a lot after this weekend. Gold and silver on a Friday picking up a little bit of steam, but still below the major levels for a right shoulder. So we need to see if we can get past out of here. I didn't do anything different than I do in crypto with these boxes, and as you can see, it got rejected up there. Still has not invalidated that looking like an extended head and shoulders. Even though we had an inverse pattern to break up, we could not break out of that $94 zone. So that's a big rejection as of right now, but that can always change, and we'll continue to monitor that for further information. DXY is at 99.12. You got the 10-year up 2 basis points back, well above 4% to 4.16. It had a brief stay at about 3.85, 3.9. And it's quite inverted because we had rate cuts recently and then we stayed the same. But yet the 10 years going up, which means it's inverted, and that is a horrible sign, if I'm being honest, for the economy. USDT, we talked about yesterday how it had to come back and retest, and we'd see if it comes back up past this resistance and start pushing up. Could this be the start of a bearish push up? Only time will tell on this daily candle if it can hold or if it breaks down. It's going to be defined by this candle close and the start of the next one in the daily. That's going to tell us everything. Right now, it could be a little bit of a bearish bias, but it hasn't given it away as of yet. We're trying to invalidate a death cross possibly setting up. And USDT dominance, for anybody who doesn't know, that's the stable coin. That's the percentage of money that's in the stable coin instead of in crypto. So look at it this way. You have money in the bank. It'd be the amount of money you have in your savings account that's not touchable compared to what you have in your checking account ready to go on a spending spree. So that's the way you need to look at it for crypto. The money in USDT tokens or stable coins isn't being willing to be bet on. So they're not willing to take it and put it into a crypto. They'd rather have it in a stable coin to keep stability. So that's how you need to look at the market dominance chart. And it's a very key indicator whether we're going to go up or down. XRPNW continues to fall off a cliff. It is what it is. XRPC, the XRP ETF, has fallen again down 3.59%. I think there's going to be a tremendous opportunity when this finally gets to where I've talked about at $8 or $7 possibly. I know everybody laughed at me, and they really did, when it was at almost 30, and I said I'll wait until it comes to $6 to $8 and make a decision. I mean, I don't really think anybody's laughing anymore, but they were in the beginning, I'll tell you that much. Like, are you kidding me? It's in a symmetrical triangle right now, also known as a bearish pennant. So we'll see if that continues on. But that's in a bearish pennant, and it failed to break out. So now the most obvious path of least resistance would be if we continue on the downward, we'd probably come down and retest 1218, and once that breaks, you'd have a bigger bear flag. But at time, it's still time remains. Yeah, time will tell what happens here. We're looking at XRP for some guidance here to see if we're going to get a rejection. We've already got one big rejection out of the bearish liquidity sweep. It's a confirmation of zone rejection. As of right now, it did. We got into the expansionary zone, which was created a small little gap up there. But that was basically to tell you, even if we got over the top, we needed to break that. Otherwise, it was just a pointless push up, which it ended up being. And right now, we've been unable to push past this little gap area. We tapped it, I believe, very briefly now in the smaller time frame. I think it was in the 15 when we were looking. Yeah, it's tapped it for the most part. So this will be our first sign right now in the smaller time frames. Do we have anything forming here? Is this just, there's just not enough integrity built and there's not enough bulls to push us? But still a lot to be determined this morning. A lot to be determined this morning, in fact. We had some news with Ripple that I would like to talk about. See, this is much easier when I can't see the comments sometimes because then I don't need to see what's going on and all that nonsense sometimes. It's not always nonsense, but lately there's been a lot more nonsense than I want to see. Let's see. Oh, this is it. No, that's not it. This is it. So this was breaking. I think I shared it with the audience yesterday, but if you haven't seen this, breaking, Ripple could monetize future XRP. And David Schwartz came out and said Ripple could sell the right to receive the tokens released from escrow or even sell the accounts the escrows complete into. But the XRP still can't circulate until the release date. So it's exactly what my conspiracy was this whole time. They're actually selling the escrow and then they're giving them on the sell points. And then they're going to buy it back with that money, those tokens, as they bring the price down immediately after. This confirms everything that I thought was going on. It really does. So the FUD is officially dead. David Schwartz just confirmed a move that changes everything for the XRP ledger. Ripple can now sell the rights to escrowed XRP before it's even released. Big business, big banks, institutions. That's why we had the redaction back in 22 and 3 in the official documents where it showed two different buying prices, one for retail, one for banks and institutions or the big players, but they wouldn't tell us the difference in pricing. Let me tell you, it's extraordinary. Some of them, they're probably handing them over for free as part of the whole system. So there's supposedly no market dumping. The tokens stay locked on chain until they're scheduled release. But remember, all of these can be released at once in December of 2028. That's less than that's about just over 2.5 years now. Now, doesn't that make you a little concerned that all these are already guaranteed away and they could theoretically dump them all at that exact same time? And dump right now, there's like 30-something billion. Like, I'm just saying, like, read into this a little bit, folks. So the institutional lock-in, big banks and institutions can now secure their future XRP supply today. They aren't buying tokens. They're buying the guaranteed right to them. Massive capital. Ripple raises serious liquidity up front to expand. We fund that, ladies and gentlemen. Retail funds that by not knowing the charts and buying at the wrong times and listening to all the influencers that get paid to lead you on the wrong direction. Ripple's a big part of paying people to lie. They've been doing it for years. I've been approached by... I'm not even going to go deep into it, but I've been approached to do the same thing. So, and I'm just not going to do it. Ripple raises serious liquidity up front to expand the ecosystem without selling a single live XRP into the market. This isn't dumping. Oh, no, it's something different. It's something different. This is a massive power play. Ripple is turning its escrow into a high-level financial instrument for the world's biggest players. Notice they're not talking about retail, the biggest players. They are positioning themselves as the ultimate liquidity provider for the future of finance. The escrow dump narrative just hit a brick wall in a sense, but not really. It hit a brick wall in the fact that it's supposed to be monthly, but what they did is they proved to us that institutions have the big hand, and we don't own shit. And we must be so far ahead that we understand this to a deeper level so we didn't get roped in. Warren Buffett, rule number 1 is protect your capital. You protect your capital at all costs. You don't give it back. The next time I hear somebody say, I can afford to lose it, well, no, you can't. Aren't you still at work? Aren't you still selling your time for the dollar or your native currency? So don't tell me that you can afford to lose it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be at work trying to advance. Nobody can afford it. Not in this economy. I can't afford it. You can't afford it. Nobody can afford to give the money back or just sit because for the hell of it. That desireness where people say, you got to stay in the market as long as possible. It's the time in market that pays off. No, it's not. It's the timing of the market. Perfect example. If you bought XRP in 2017 or 18 at the wrong time, you're like 60, 70% down. Does that sound like a good sound plan? I don't think so. The only time in market pays off is in precious metals if you buy. And even then, it's about timing. Do you want to buy it at 5,400 or 5,300? Or would you rather have bought it at 16 to 2,000? Because now you're sitting in the market, and because of your perfect entry before a breakout, because you time the market properly, you get the desired time in market. In risk assets, that doesn't exist. The bull and bear cycle for XRP, the average bull market is between 9 and 18 days. You heard that right. You've got a period of 9 to 18 days usually to make a decision. In 21, our bull market lasted like 13 days, and it never hit that top again. The only difference in this rally is we had such a big price push up that after the contraction back to $1.62, we were able to push back up to an all-time high, and that was by design because we built a big left shoulder, then head, then right shoulder. We talked about how we took the elevator up, then you would have to take the stairs down, and that's what we're doing. We've taken the stairs way down. We're down $2.34 from the top in July of 2025. Do you want to sit through all of that? I know a lot did, but do you want to be that casualty of war? And they're trading algorithms. Nothing more, nothing less. These are trading bots. Most people who have a bunch of money, they don't make the actual trade. There's an algorithm that they follow. They've got bots that do it for them. They have contracts with Ripple through escrow being able to purchase it. You don't think that's been going on since 2018? It has. They reserve the right. They're just now telling us about it. You think this just happened? It didn't. It's been going on for many years. It's why they strategically had the escrow dumps until December of 28 because it gives them the flexibility to not only promise these tokens. Think about it. They promise the tokens. Listen to this conspiracy. Let's say they promise 500 million tokens. They release $1 billion out of escrow. The price changes so much that they have it pump up right before they dump it out of escrow so that they can sell at top dollar in that particular swing of the market. And then right after they dump it on the market, they lock back up 700 million, which I think that's deemingly and telling what they're promising to institutions now. But because they have so much of a capital differential, they can actually buy back what they're giving away, those 300 million. So in these scenarios, they give away 300 million a month to institutions. But guess what? They're able to buy over and above, and we went through the example this month, because they're making so much freaking money that they're able to buy all these back and give them away and just steal them from the market. Us, retail. That's why they want you to gamble and leverage. And yeah, some people are good at it, but retail is not. 95% lose in spot in cryptocurrency. Imagine how many lose in that other volatility of leverage. That's the easiest way for retail to voluntarily hand over XRP tokens to the exchanges, and then by virtue allow it to go to the institutions for free, in a sense. This is how we allow exchanges to build a reserve for free. They're not buying the tokens. They never have. That's the grand lie. That's what everybody lies to about. Oh, look at the reserves on exchange. Yeah, that's all everybody getting liquidated. I guarantee it would be a 1-to-1 ratio if we could do a study of how many of the liquidated tokens, what percentage of those are actually the reserves. I would guarantee they're probably 95 to 100% of those reserves are via liquidations. It's just like the casino. They're not adding money into their investment. They're taking it from us, our hard-earned money, because we want to roll on the slots. We want to do some roulette. You know, we want to do some horse racing or sports betting. They're not adding shit. We're giving them their own liquidity. It's amazing. It's generally amazing what happens. So, you know, that's why we have to be in order. That's why I have to be in order. That's why we all have to be on the same page. So, you know, that's just the way it goes. Wally, I mean, I disagree with you. You know what you hold. If you know what you hold, then you need to know when to buy it. I've never heard so many people contend on being down 50% in my life. Honestly, do you know you have to make 100% return now to get that money back? No, the better answer would be I need to learn the charts and market and human psychology. You know what you hold, do you? Do you really know, or do you know what everybody's telling you? I'm just being honest. Like, why would you want to buy it at $2.50 when you can buy it at $1? But you've already, I'm honestly asking, why would you want to hold it and fund their, I don't understand. Maybe I'm missing something. A lot of people tell me that. I disagree, Elmer. When you don't time the market right, holding is the best next thing. No, it's not. many times do I have to say this? Why would you want to voluntarily be down 50 to 90%? You could hold it for years. People have been holding XRP for 7 years. They're still down 60% because of that mentality. That's just where I disagree. That's no fault of yours. This is just my own personal opinion. I don't want anybody to be a casualty at this. You shouldn't have to buy it there. Watch what I'm showing you every day. You don't need to time it yourself. I'm here for you for a reason. Why do you think I started this channel 5 years ago? Why do you think I don't miss days? I don't want anybody to be a part of that nonsense. We need to do better than that. Learn to time the market properly. Learn to read the charts better than that. Bet on yourself, man. You're better than this, all of you. You're better than just saying, I know what I hold and I don't care if I'm down 100%. So you really don't know what you're holding. How do you know XRP is what it's meant to be? How do you know? How do you know that the Clarity Act isn't going to just drive us down 90% from where we're at, and then all of a sudden you're holding at dollars when we're meant to be at cents? That's a casualty of war. Don't be that person. Don't think that way. You're better than that. You deserve better than that. We know now what we don't know, so it's my job, because I do know, to try to give you the knowledge I have. This is the one reason people hate me when I talk like this. The biggest reason. Because I don't believe in that, the nonsense of sitting in the market forever just to try to return. No. Unless you're sitting in a sound money like precious metals, I disagree. This is collateral damage. You have no idea if this is ever going to go back up to where it's going. It's a theory that we're going to get up to where we think we're going to, that we're on an all-time descending wedge on a big cup and handle. But even at that bottom line target could go all the way down to 56-cent range. Yes, in my technical target, unless the descending triangle breaks, everybody, ready? For the 800 millionth time, and for the first time today, if the descending triangle doesn't break at $1.56, which had already proved bearish twice, even when it went to $1.65, we were unable to hold $1.56 as support. The technical target is 86.6 cents. I don't make that up. I didn't reach in a hat and pick up a fairy number. I didn't finesse it. I'm not lying about it. That's the true facts. That's the number. That's the technical target unless invalidated. And right now it's been very much validated. And we put in a head and shoulders right now unless invalidated. So, I mean, are we... After 5 years, you know, I see the trap of retail. I see why these channels have to be paid the way they are, because they are the ones who convinced you through gaslighting, through a form of their own Project Bluebeam and mind manipulation, that holding forever is the way. Buy no matter what, and you can't lose. Like, are we serious? Okay, go ahead, keep buying the tops. And what ends up happening is your purchasing power goes so low, when it goes down to where it's at, I hear it all the time. Can I sell it now? Do I sell it here? I wish I could buy more. I wish I wasn't down 75%. We deserve better than that. You are better than that. But you got to bet on yourself and take the time. If you can't read a chart, if you don't understand market anatomy or structure, if you don't know the difference between sound money and fake money, and everything in between, join the classes. If you want to give the market 50%, it's in your best interest to support what I do and join the classes. There's 10 classes already, about 17 hours of learning approximately already. And I do them live Monday and Wednesday if you want to be a part of it. You don't have to be. You can watch them after they are recorded. But I think you're all better than that. I do. I think you're better than that. Why do we continuously have this, like, Elmer? Like, I understand, and I like you a lot, but my friend, why do we always have to escalate things? 1970 Legend was just being honest. Like, he was just saying something. Like, why do we always have to ask? I don't want to escalate. I don't want to escalate. I want. What kind of? Nah, it's whatever. I'm gonna shut my comments off right now. I just don't want to deal with it. So Bitcoin rejecting right now at this first area in the smaller time frame. We hit it perfectly. Remember our little liquidity box we built? It hit the rejection. Now it came up. And now if this is a rejection, it's just going to fall right back down. The next area of concern, 65,700. And as far as the comments, or as far as the commercials, I don't want commercials. I think it's cheap. I don't want to do it. It's gonna hinder my ability to have this go out in a progressive way. That's the bottom line. If you don't like that, that's fine. But I've given you my reasoning, and now let's move past it. If you don't want to be in Tom's army, that's fine. That doesn't bother me. You already offer enough, but you got to do it in a positive approach. And I know 1970 Legend too much. He doesn't act like this unless provoked. So, let's try not to provoke. You're good at it. Trust me, I know it. And that's not a slight on you. I'm just saying, sometimes we got to be the bigger person and say, okay, I understand what you're saying and I appreciate it, but I disagree. There's nothing wrong with saying it like that. XLM down 3.03%. Looks like a little bear flag's forming. Nice topping reversal up here, head and shoulders. If this comes back down, we've formed what looks like a symmetrical triangle here in the short-term consolidation. You're going to have to hit that uptrend to try to see where we stand. I can't tell anybody anything until we get past this part. Because in theory, we had a breakout that ended up being a fake breakout, and we're back within the symmetrical triangle. These are technically going with the trend. So a symmetrical triangle technically follows the trend. And right now the trend has been down. So we need to see if we can hold 14.97 cents approximately. And then you got one of two directions. If it breaks down, I mean, you're talking about now being a purchase around 13 cents possibly. But it would break down the breakout over the downtrending resistance that has now been acting as support for a little bit. So that would put us somewhere around on a breakdown. And I show everybody both sides because I want you to be informed. Do I have to do that? No. Does it show weakness because I don't want to say up or down? No, because I tell you what I think is going to happen anyhow. But I tell you the possibility if it were to have some kind of surge. Because that's the right thing to do. You don't want to be guessing. Like I said, you don't need to guess. Just come in here every day and take what I take. Take this as truth. Some people come in here and think I'm finessing them every single day. I'm not. If you think I'm finessing you still when it does exactly what I say every single day, I mean, that's on you. If you trust the run guys and the bearable bullshitter and all these other people over me, again, that's your own prerogative and I can't be mad at you for it. You're allowed to watch whoever you want and you're allowed to trust whoever you want. That's why you're your own human. But, when you get roped in day after day and I have to hear the same thing about the BCB and everybody else when they're leading everybody to slaughter. I've been around since 21, folks. I haven't missed a day. I've seen what's happened. They can delete all the videos. They can act like it never happened, but we've seen it in real time. So that's why I always say follow somebody who tells you what's happening in real time. Don't judge somebody on how they can tell you it's going up in a bull market. How about them accurately predict the bull market, tell you when to get out, and tell you where to buy in? That's who you want to follow. You don't want to follow somebody who's tickling your nuts just so that you'll be happy. You want somebody who'll squeeze the shit out of them when they need to be, and that's me. So right now we're looking right about here. What is that level? Let me put this price on. 14.96 cents is where we're targeting right now as the next support on the symmetrical triangle. We've had 1, 2, 3 hits on resistance, 2 on support. We broke out on the 4th attempt, held, broke down. We never were able to hold. We broke down, invalidated the inverse head and shoulders, which is super bearish. And now we deal with it. But we can be honest about it. We don't have to lie about it. We don't have to say this looks great. No, we make plans. We try to see where the next opportunity is. XDC, remember the sell point? I know Mr. Stott is feeling a hell of a lot better now. Because when we bought in, we sold the 200-day, and then we had a brief moment where we bought this support, but once it broke this structure, it's an auto sell. So it doesn't cost you anything. You're trying to find the rebound, but it wasn't there. And you have to acknowledge it in real time. Very quickly, or you get hammered. Now it's back within the short-term consolidation, and it's breaking down this area. Again, this is breaking down, which means if it's going to the downside, it's probably going to come all the way into the nitty-gritty. Not saying it's going to come down all the way there guaranteed, but right now, that daily time frame wasn't great. Now we need to see if somehow today we can reverse this. At any, we got 8 hours to try to reverse this and try to turn this into a move over the top, try to get back above 344. Do I think that's going to happen? I think it's going to take a 95% miracle for that to happen, to try to form a hammer on a Friday. In fact, I think we might get hammered even more on a Friday. So, but it's been an hour and 6 minutes. To say I'm disappointed with this live would be the understatement of the century. A lot of good information that's going to get lost. But I feel like we're doing this a little bit. Can't do this. We can't start going like this. We have to, not this. Remember, positivity. We're supposed to be bringing each other together, not kicking ourselves apart. Every time we talk negative to each other in the comments, one more person leaves my audience that has never been here. So if you want to show respect for me, shut the fuck up and pay attention and stop causing disruptions in the comments. That goes for everybody. It's the best I can say it. If you respect me, stop that nonsense. I don't even need to see it, and I can see it. I can feel that it's happening. I don't even have the comments on it. I can feel it in my soul that it's not the way it's supposed to be. I don't like that. I put too much damn work in to be misrepresented the way I always am. Or to be shown the lack of respect by some when so many want to try to respect it. This isn't child's play here. We're dealing with portfolios. If you can't understand what that means, you're in the wrong business. If you don't understand why you can't be like that when you're dealing with your life savings, can't think of a single person outside of the wealthy that can afford to lose the way most people talk. Oh, 50% is fine. Is it? I've never seen so many people in retail so willing to fight with each other when they're getting such good information. It's an indictment on me when somebody comes in here. When they see you guys pissing and moaning in the comments, that's an indictment on me, not you. Whose community is it? Isn't it supposed to be ours? But at the end of the day, it hurts me. It hurts me when you guys talk like that to each other. It kills me. It kills the vibe. It kills what it's supposed to be. Got to look at the bigger picture. Look outside of yourselves. Take a step into my world to put my freaking shoes on. Deal with enough bullshit at home. If my special needs son can rise above and be positive, so can you. If Mighty Marcus can fight the good fight and be positive, there's no damn reason you can't. If XRP John Hall can come in here with that positive mindset despite his son being deployed to a war that is uncertain, so can you. You don't have it so bad. You're trading. Wisen up or get left behind. No more warnings. If you guys come in here and cause disruption, I don't care if you're a mod or not, you're being banned for the day. Period. I'm done. And that's the way it's got to be. It is Friday, March 6th, and it's 37 degrees outside. Very stormy tomorrow. Going to be in the 60s, which will be nice. Be very nice. XRP Bitcoin pairing. You think you've seen hostility? Haven't seen shit yet. If you guys, some of you keep disrespecting what I do. The hostility won't be me talking. It'll be you missing out on this information day after day because you won't be in here. A sign of disrespect is some of the things I'm seeing. That's a sign of disrespect to me. Maybe it's not supposed to be, but it is. Remember, when you come into my house and you don't play by my rules, and this is my house. I built this from the ground up with no help except from the loyal members of this community. XDC XRP pairing down 1.35%. Nice head and shoulders here looking like, at least in the short term. But we still have the potential of a golden cross here. So we could say, well, is XDC ahead? Is it going to start to do more? Or is this like a topping? Well, we have a shoulder, head, shoulder over the top of the resistance versus XRP. So we're going to look for a little bit of lightning there. I almost hesitate to turn the comments on, but I guess I will. I know, Agony, you bet your ass. But yeah, Agony Trader, remember what I said at the beginning? I don't hate XRP. I hate what the community's becoming in XRP. We become a bunch of emotional traders with no actual basic understanding, and it's not your fault. A lot of people in this community are not that way. Some people just don't know, and we get taken advantage of. What made me unhappy or upset? I'm not even upset. I don't like the way some people are talking to each other. It's a big indictment on me in this community when people come in and they see people fighting with each other. I don't like negativity. I deal with enough of it. I deal with a lot of stuff you guys don't see about, you know, in my personal life because of my son's circumstance and just things in life. But I come on here every single day and I try to present you in the best way possible. But sometimes, man, I can feel when things are slipping. That's all. But knick-knack, paddywhack. Welcome in, my brother. Edward, thanks for being in town. 3+ month DXP Meteor. Man, oh man, this is something that's much overdue. And I do this to certain people because I think they can lead what I need them to lead. Take this with pride, Cannabis Podcast. I need some people that have the nuts to stop a fight. Even if they're mods, even if they're people I really appreciate, sometimes they just need a break. So, you know. So let's just take a second before we say something and try to reflect. You understand that there's some people that are having experiences in life that are not so great. And their one pleasure sometimes and joy is to come in here and hang out with all of us because they love the community. Let's not take that away from them. Crypto G-Man, go back to 2021 and 2 and see what Angry Tom really looks like. This was a warning shot. Nothing more, nothing less. It's that simple. That's fair enough, Agony Trader. That's fair, actually. Very fair. That's fair. That is fair. XRP rejected on that liquidity zone as of right now when it came up in the 15. You can see it in the 30, but it's very well defined in the 15. It couldn't come back over. Now, if we break this $1.3520 approximately, we're more than likely going to end up pushing our way down to $1.32, 5-ish. It is building what looks like a bearish pennant so far, but still got time to be invalidated. Still in time to be invalidated. Oh, I'm blessed to have you here, Cannabis Podcast. Believe me. Mellowmania, thanks for rejoining Tom's Army in your second month with the Dusty's Hot House Crypto News. I greatly appreciate that show of support. But most of you know me. With being honest, I got to be honest sometimes. And when I got to say something, I'm not afraid to say it. Because if I'm saying it, you know, it's at a tipping point, right? So, But besides that, I think if we get rid of all the noise, I think it's been a phenomenal live with the information. We just got to get rid of some of the noise, you know? And that's where I can do better. I can lead better. That's where I think I've missed the mark a little bit this week. I still think we've done a phenomenal job. XRP remains at risk as U.S.-Iran war extends. That is what it is with risk assets. Let's see. Yeah, I seen that. This was another bit of news. They added Ethereum, Solana, and Bitcoin into the Ripple ecosystem, basically through the derivatives on Coinbase. So now Ripple Prime brokers, they don't just offer XRP futures. Now they're going to allow people to trade Solana and Bitcoin and Ethereum with contracts tied to XRP. So that's some news that's been going on. Definitely some news. Tom, sometimes you say really great things. I'll take that as a compliment. Take that as a compliment. Let's see. I don't really think there's anything else. Our volume, we've had 3.37 million. Average volume over the last 30 days is 11.65 million. Market capitalization is down to 82.95 billion. Fully diluted market cap is 135.6. Trading volume in the last 24 hours is 2.42 billion USD. All-time high is 3.6606 is the price on this particular chart. Circulating supply is 61.16 billion. Total supply 99.99 billion, which means 38 billion tokens are still at large, which is actually pretty incredible that there's that many at large still. Strong sell on the indicator. You can go here to look at stuff if you want. The white paper, the community, explorers, website, the about. We can go into more technicals and see the signals for the, I don't want to go into the 15, but the daily. You have a neutral on the oscillators, 2 sell, 8 neutral, 1 buy. The summary would be 16 sell, 9 neutral, and only 1 buy. The moving average, say 14 sell, 1 neutral, 0 buys. Relative strength is neutral all the way through the oscillators. You have a sell signal with momentum in the 10-day. MACD supposedly is buying the 12 and 26. I disagree with that. There's still more that needs to be seen. That's a lagging indicator after all anyhow. The bull bear power says sell. And then all the moving averages, there's not anything besides one neutral with the Ichimoku base with the 9, 26, 52, and 26. Every other moving average is a sell on the daily if it hits these prices. Even the one at $1.38 is a sell. Everywhere above, if it were to hit those prices, are all sell. And these are all the way the simple. It's a great way to look at the simple moving averages, the exponential moving averages, and things like that. Volume weighted with the moving averages, the Ichimoku base, the Hall moving average, which is very important at $1.40. We've got, and see, you don't even need to know any of this. You don't need to put the Fibonacci down. You can just look here in the daily. You got resistance 3 on the Fibonacci at $1.94. Resistance 2 is $1.73. Resistance 1 was $1.60, and the pivot was $1.39. Being below the pivot, now you start to target the first support structure at $1.18 in the daily. The classic resistance 3 is $2.50, then $1.94, $1.66, and the pivot's at $1.3924, and it hasn't held, which means the next support, real support 1 would be $1.10, support 2, $83.73. Look at support 3 in the classic model for pivots is at 28 cents. The Fibonacci is all the way down to 83 at support 3. Work to do to get down there. The Camarilla goes $1.52, $1.47, $1.42, $1.39 pivot at, and we're below that. Next support would be $1.3258, which I love because that's exactly where the real support is in real time. Support 2 would be $1.27. Support 3 would be $1. So you combine all of these. If you look at the Woody, and we're not talking about the Viagra Woody, we're talking about the Woody. Would be $2.20, and then you have $1.94, $1.65, and the pivot point would be $1.3887. Then you'd have support one down at $1.09, 83.3, and then 54.45, which I like both of those because we know in the all-time cup and handle descending triangle that's formed on the handle, it goes all the way down into that 54.45 space, and it can still maintain a very bullish structure. Sometimes people rub you the wrong way. I just blocked good old Elmer, so I will no longer get to see that. And that's fine. That's fine. Sometimes that's what you got to do, and I appreciate that because sometimes, not everybody's going to agree with each other. And that's just the way it goes, and that's being the bigger person right there, and I like seeing that. So now there's no more conflict, and I like that. Now we can move on. 1970 Legend, thanks for the $49.99 super chat. That I kind of missed that when I was reading that. I really appreciate that. Support and being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. But that's taking the bigger way. That's what we need to do. Yep, Kraken is absolutely a bank. They have the stock market. They have the assets. They're using their on Kraken, they're using we will have to go deeper. That and crypto.com is becoming their own investment platform instead of crypto exchanges. So, they're even getting into sports betting and things they probably shouldn't. But yeah, it's definitely turned into a bank. There's no doubt about that. In 1926, Lowe says, which is 3/1926 mirror. 1926, the market rose significantly after a downturn and continued upward top from the early 1920s momentum. Interesting information. Let's see. But yeah, that's about it. At risk of this evolving into something I don't want it to, I'm going to end it here. And I thank everybody for being in here. We can do a lot better than we did today. Technicals are on point. Our energy was not matching. So we can do a lot better. And for that, I'm